G'day from Australia, everyone. I am currently at Mum and Dad's house, and as a matter of fact, I grew up and I learnt to ride on this property right next door to here. So all these hills over here behind us, and I've just done a Principles of Training masterclass. So I wrote a book called The Principles of Training. I've just done a masterclass over at Wagga, working with some horses about the principles outlined in that book. And probably the biggest principle we had to work with all those horses was the don't go to bed angry principle, which is really about emotional regulation. And we had some pretty big changes in horses. One of the horses that came there, the girl does a bit of jumping and stuff on him, but she says he's basically, you got to use the reins for brakes. If you're not pulling on the reins, he's pretty much running away. And at the clinic, I had to get on and show me what he was like. And when she got on, he couldn't stand still. And when she tried to get him to stand still, he wasn't going to be told to stand still and slow down. And yeah, he was a little bit of a mess. So anyway, we went back to the start with him. But by the end of the second day, he was, he got really relaxed under saddle, trotting around, hanging his head, stretching his neck out, swinging his legs, really loose in the back. And that didn't really come about because of training techniques to fix a horse that wants to pull on the bit or any of those sorts of things. That came about because we worked on emotional regulation, and there's no use working on the symptom of the problem without working on the problem. And all we had to do was get that horse emotionally regulated under saddle. He was a completely different horse. He even cantered around on a loose rein, which he's never done before. She said he's never really trotted much on a loose rein either. That was one of the horses. Another one of the horses, he is a chronically stressed kind of a horse who kind of stands in a V shape like this with his neck up in the air. And with his owner there, when we turned him loose, he really didn't have a whole lot of interest in the owner. Wanted to run around the outskirts of the arena, stick his head over the fence, and whinny back to his friends in the stables. And after one of the very early exercises I do, which creates connection, he, instead of running around putting his head over the fence and being concerned that way, he hung out with his owner and just followed her around like they were a pair of horses out in the pasture somewhere. So that was it was a great couple of days. My next thing, we leave this afternoon to fly down to Melbourne, and where I'm going to be presenting at Equitana on Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We've got a bit of something every day. I'm doing a Journey on Podcast live event from there some of the days. I've got demos some of the days. The two demos I'm doing, I'm working with some Brumbies, and one of them, I think it's going to be another emotional, a nervous system regulation type situation. And then I'm also part of the night show on Saturday, and it's with the Double Dans, so you never really know what you're going to get there, but I'm looking forward to that. Then I'll be home for a week, and then I'm off to England. So I'm in England early in December for 2 different weekends. The first weekend is it's called the Horsemanship Showcase, and I'll be there for the 2 days. We'll put the dates up here on the screen. And then the next weekend I'm doing another thing, and I can't remember exactly the name of it. It's Benefit, I believe, and we'll put the dates and the name of that up here on the screen as well. And then I'm home for a bit, but in January I'll be coming back to Australia to do some more clinics. I will be in Victoria, in Tonhambrook, I think is the name of the place, in Victoria in late January. And then early February I'm going over to after that, the next weekend I'm going over to Western Australia, where I'm doing a clinic, and I'm doing 2 clinics, and one of the clinics is for the Western Australian eventing squad, and so I think I'm only going to be working with the eventing horses in that clinic, and we're also going to have a masterclass. So the clinic will actually be Friday and Sunday. The masterclass will be Saturday night, and it will be, I think with most of those horses, it's probably going to be similar to what we had on the weekend, which is going to be a masterclass that focuses on emotional regulation, because like I said before, most horse problems come out of emotional regulation problems, and if you can solve that emotional regulation, you can almost solve the problem. So, I've put all the dates up there on the screen. If you have any questions about when any of those things is, probably just best to go to our website, www.warwickschiller.com, click under clinics, and it'll have all the information on there.